The history of China, from ancient dynasties to modern superpower. The history of China has been passed down through stories, legends and historical documents that date back thousands of years to the beginning of Chinese civilization. In order to have any understanding of China today, it's crucial to know where it came from, how it got there and what challenges have shaped its development over time. Here are 7 important events in the history of China that have led to the country's current standing as an economic and military powerhouse in the world today. Before China. China has a long history of dynastic rule that goes back almost 4,000 years. In 1046 BC, King Wu took over from Emperor Zhou as emperor. He moved his capital from Hojing in what is now Shanxi province to a new city he named Zhou after his predecessor. This marked the beginning of what would be called the Western Zhou dynasty, one of many dynasties in Chinese history which included Shang dynasty, 1766 to 1050 BC, Zheng, 1045 to 256 BC, Tang dynasty, 618 to 907 AD, and Qing dynasty, 1644 to 1912 AD. More than 2,000 years ago, warring states existed in modern-day Shandong province. Shang dynasty, 1600 to 1046 BCE. The Shang dynasty, often referred to as Zhou in Chinese, was a Bronze Age civilization that lasted for more than 700 years according to ancient records. It was founded by King Tang of Shang, r. circa 1766 BCE to 1699 BCE. The capital city was originally located at Anyang near modern-day Henan province and later moved towards Hubei and Hunan. One key accomplishment of Shang rulers is their consolidation over competing groups, which paved way for orderly rule, and they also had one of earliest writing systems found in ancient history as well as sophisticated metallurgy techniques. Zhou dynasty, 1046 to 256 BCE. The Zhou dynasty is divided into 2 periods known as Western Zhou, 1046 to 771 BCE, and Eastern Zhou, 770 to 256 BCE. One of its greatest accomplishments was laying down a national legal code, which promoted human rights, equality and ensured that citizens were innocent until proven guilty. This framework eventually led to social, economic and political stability. The lineage ended when King Yudi surrendered his land to Qin Shi Huangdi after years of warfare in 256 BCE. Today, scholars debate whether or not he was coerced into giving up his land. The political climate has been very tense leading up to that point, or if he did so willingly. This remains one of history's most fascinating unsolved mysteries. Spring and Autumn period and warring states, 770 to 221 BCE. The history of China begins with one of its earliest written documents, Chinese characters dating back over 6,000 years ago, but it wasn't until around 770 BCE that something we might recognize as a China began taking shape under dynastic rule. For much of recorded history, various warring states battled for dominance in what is now modern-day northern and eastern China, Jingguo. After more than 5 centuries of feudalism and infighting, a combination of factors including economic collapse forced a brief period during which 7 independent city-states vied for power. Qin dynasty, 221 to 206 BCE. The Qin dynasty was a brief but eventful period in Chinese history. It started when Ying Cheng, also known as Qin Shi Huang, became king of Qin at just 13 years old. The young ruler knew that he needed talented advisors and administrators to keep his empire unified, so he sent out a notice asking for suggestions from across his kingdom. He received hundreds of replies, which he carefully reviewed, and then punished most respondents by executing them because only Li Si remained after responding with burned books, kill scholars, attack Luoyang. Did Ying Zheng choose him as an advisor and eventual chancellor. Han dynasty, 206 BCE to 220 CE. The Han dynasty began when Liu Bang became emperor, thus ending a long period known as the Warring States. It was during his reign that China was unified, and his era is known as the Golden Age. He died in 195 BCE and was succeeded by his wife, who became known as Empress Liu Ji. However, she eventually brought about her own downfall when she falsely accused her servant Zhao Gao of poisoning her father-in-law and killed him instead. In revenge, Liu Bang's son plotted against Liu Ji and had her poisoned in 180 BCE, a year after it looked like he would succeed his grandfather on the throne. 3 Kingdoms, 220 to 280 CE. The Wei Kingdom, 220 to 265 CE, Shu Kingdom, 221 to 263 CE, and Wu Kingdom, 222 to 280 CE, ruled simultaneously in a time of chaos. Eventually, Liu Bei came out on top, founding what became known as the Han Dynasty in 206 BCE. During these 2 centuries, 8 dynasties battled for control, ushering in a period known as Warring States that lasted until 221 BCE when Qin Shi Huang conquered all of China and unified it once again under one rule. He was so impressed by his accomplishment that he ordered all histories burned except for his own, thus ended Chinese antiquity and began Chinese history. Jin Dynasty, 265 to 420 CE, 16 kingdoms, southern and northern dynasties, 420 to 589 CE, Sui Dynasty, 581 to 618 CE, Tang Dynasty, 618 to 907 CE. The Three Kingdoms period, 220 to 280 CE, and 280 to 316 CE, also known as Wei, Shu, and Wu, is seen as a golden age in Chinese history that had an economy with strong agriculture and a strong army in 265 CE. Following the abdication of Shimayuan due to illness, his son Zhang Yao became emperor. He started many reforms such as controlling corruption and improving education for women. However, he died after only 4 years on the throne at 28 years old due to illness. His son Zhang Heng ascended in 271 CE. Song, Yuan, Ming and Qing dynasties, 960 to 1911 CE. The Song dynasty was a ruling dynasty in China between 960 and 1279. It succeeded the Five Dynasties and Ten Kingdoms period, and was followed by the Yuan dynasty. It was founded by Emperor Taizu, who launched military campaigns southward against several kingdoms in 963 with a 100,000-strong army. These armies were victorious against Wu in 964, Zhao in 965, Chu in 966. Chu and Yue in 978. He then continued expanding north through Central Asia toward Goguryeo, modern-day North Korea, and established diplomatic relations with Malay states such as Kutai under Emperor Taizong. How China overcome the corruption. In mid-2015, Chinese President Xi Jinping launched an anti-corruption campaign, targeting both tigers and flies. In his first 18 months in office, Xi has cracked down on high-ranking officials, including former security chief Zhou Yuankang. Zhou was found guilty of taking bribes worth 12 million yuan and abusing power to cover up his son's murder of a woman. He is believed to be one of former members of China's all-powerful standing committee who have been put under investigation for corruption by state prosecutors in an ongoing probe into more than 1 million officials. Although several tigers have been arrested and tried, but it still continues, which is one major issue China faces after its independency. How China overcome the poverty. In 1978, China's Communist Party opened its doors to foreign investment, and began modernizing China's huge economy. Today, although China still has some impoverished areas, most citizens are better off than they were 30 years ago. In fact, an incredible 78% of Chinese people own their homes, compared with just 49% in India and 35% in Mexico. In terms of healthcare, 95% of Chinese have access to basic medical care. That compares with 85% in India and 73% in Mexico. There are still lots of problems in today's modernized China. Corruption remains a serious issue, but overall life is improving for most people living there now. How much China economy progresses in the last 25 years. In 1978, Deng Xiaoping started economic reform and opening. He launched market-oriented reforms. Since then, China has been transformed from a closed, centrally planned economy into a major player in international trade and investment. It joined the World Trade Organization, WTO, in 2001 under its 12th five-year plan, 2011 to 2015. China is transitioning to an economy that is based more on consumption than investment and exports, with domestic consumption accounting for more than half of total output by 2015, up from about 40% in 2010. What will be the future of China in upcoming 100 years? Will history repeat itself? The truth is, we don't know, but if history repeats itself, then it's probably a safe bet that China will become an empire. It happened once before, and there are some worrying signs that something similar may be happening again now. I pray peace come on world in every inch of the world. Hope you like this video. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe this channel for upcoming videos so you not miss out, folks. Share this video with your friends. Follow us on Instagram, link in description. See you next time, folks.